Hello, my name is Crafters. Welcome to this tutorial where I'm going to be showing you a very easy, very efficient way using the new Allay mob to make a squid farm. And I'm also going to show you a way to turn it into a GlowSquid farm. It is a very easy farm, so let's have a look at what this really is. So it really is just a water tank above an ocean with a bunch of axolotls inside and an Allay, as you can see on top, grabbing all the ink sacks and depositing them into this chest right here. Now these two stacks that I've gotten right here is only from about 5 to 10 minutes of waiting. So this is a very efficient farm and I'm going to show you how to build it right now. So the first step in building this is figuring out where to build it, and you want to build it over an ocean or a river, but it's much easier to build it over an ocean just because of all the space. You don't have to follow the lines of the river, you don't have to follow the banks. Remember, the biome changes as it goes, and squid will not spawn in a naturally generated body of water. They have to be above a river or an ocean. So that's where you want to build your tank over. The second thing to remember is that it has to be very high in the sky, so don't make it anywhere close there, otherwise your squid are going to spawn down there. You want to be far away enough from the surface of the ocean, so that way all the squid that spawn are inside your tank. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a command to fill it up, but the main thing to remember is that the size of the tank doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is to scale everything properly. Now I'm going to use a 25 by 25 tank, so I'm going to use a command to fill that in, and I'm going to use glass just so you guys can see it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you have to use. You can use any old block. So let's go ahead and go fill from here to, let's do 24, and then I'll make this 12. So it'll have to be 11, and then 24 again. Glass, and we'll make this hollow. There we go. Now we have ourselves a tank. And the reason you want a roof over this is so that the Allay doesn't fly out and get confused. I've had Allays, in a previous version of this, I had Allays flying out of here trying to get to the note block and then getting stuck on the glass here because they seem to look at the ink sac and not pathfind around it, just stare at it here and wait for it as it floats at the top of the surface, and they just try to get through the glass and they just get stuck. So just make sure it's enclosed so that the Allays don't get confused. So the next thing is the floor. Now glass will not work because nothing is going to spawn on it, so I'm just going to use something that's a bit easier to get. So we can use dirt. Whoops, what am I doing? Not dirt, I have to fill it in. Let's grab the previous command, except instead of glass, let's do dirt. And let's reduce this. There we go. And the last thing you want to do to the bottom here is light it up so that you don't have any drowns spawning. They will kill your axolotls. So I'm going to go ahead and just use some frog lights. Now, of course, it doesn't matter exactly how you light things up. There's not a specific pattern that you would have to follow, because as long as it's just a little bit light, they will not spawn. So just make sure the entire bottom is nice and well lit. You know, use your own judgment on how well it's lit. If you see patches of darkness, just light it up. Now, what I will tell you is that you should not use sea pickles because the axolotls tend to get stuck in the sea pickles and they kind of swim around in a circle. This should be well enough. Let me just check. Yeah, it seems to be pretty well lit up. If you want, you can just add some stuff here. It doesn't even have to be symmetrical. I mean, it probably isn't the way I built it, but at any rate, it is lit up. Next thing you want to do is fill this entire thing with water. Now, if you're doing this in survival, the way I would recommend doing it is using ice. I'm going to use a command, of course, but when you're doing it with ice, you can do something like this. Now, I recommend leaving just a bit of a gap here so the Allay has room to fly around, and then doing pillars just like so. and then breaking each one of these pieces of ice with a fortune or not necessarily a fortune, but a pickaxe that doesn't have silk touch. That way they all turn into water sources. And then make sure you go this way too. And then as long as you fill up all the way 2 walls and then break them all, they should all turn into water sources. But for the sake of brevity, let's do, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm gonna have to fill this up. Let's do that. There we go. Now the whole thing is submerged. Next thing you want to do is build the collection system where the Allay is going to be dropping things off. So let's grab ourselves a note block, and let's grab ourselves some redstone, and we're going to build this so that there's enough of a delay to where the Allay can locate the note block, but you're not going to be listening to it over and over again. So the key thing to remember is that every 30 seconds the Allay is going to forget where this is. So if there is a note being heard every 30 seconds or a little bit less than that, then there shouldn't be a problem. So I'm going to do it about half of that, about 15 seconds. And I'm also going to do it these way. There's many ways to add delays to your circuits. I'm just going to do it a very simple way. But this is going to need hoppers underneath and a chest. There's that. Let's bust these out really quick so I can go through. And you're going to want to need, actually, let's put the chest here first. There we go. And then this goes in there like that. You know what? Actually, this is wrong. It needs to be 1 block lower. There you go. Place the hopper right there, and then another one right there with the note block on top. And then seal this back up. And now bring out 2 pieces of glass for 8 blocks. Let's see if we did this right. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. And you're going to want to put a redstone torch right there. Repeaters on 4 ticks all the way on this. 1, 2, and so on. There we go. Now, of course, you can extend it or make this less. You can even use a hopper clock if you want to save some space. But obviously leave these 2 right there. Keep going this way. As long as the note block goes off every 30 seconds, you can build a delay however you want. Oh, it looks like there's some dark spots in there that you might have to fill up. And finally put some redstone dust, whoops, right there and there. And that should be complete circuit. And that should be going off around every 15 seconds, roughly. There we go. Now it should be lit up well enough. And as you can see, it's already starting to work with squid spawning. Nothing else, by the way, is going to spawn here but squid if you've done this correctly, so no fish. So the next step is to have a bunch of axolotls in here. Now, I should tell you that, full disclosure, this actually works with guardians as well. Guardians will do exactly the same thing. And the benefit is that guardians will actually not fight with the drown if you do happen to actually not light this up properly. So you could, in theory, avoid lighting this up by using guardians, but then that's kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul, because you're avoiding one thing complicated but adding another one. Now, the amount of axolotls really depends on the size of your tank. The more axolotls you have, the bigger your tank should be, because that's... Looks like I've got a bit of a hole here. But yeah, the bigger your tank, the more axolotls you're going to need. Really, there's only one thing left to do. Spawn an Allay and give it ink sacs. There you go. That is it. Your farm is done. Let's walk out here and watch him pick everything up. Let's close this back up. And he is just about done here. And he's going to toss his squid sacks in there. these ones are going to float back up. Even the ones that get missed, he will pick up because he'll eventually get to them. Boom, picked him up, threw him out again. And there you go. You already have that much. It is very simple to build. Wouldn't take that long to build even in survival. Really the hardest thing to do is maybe breeding up some more axolotls, but you know, even that really isn't that hard. You can just get some tropical fish. Now I'm going to show you how to make this into a GlowSquid farm. Okay, so this is the GlowSquid version of the farm. It is absolutely identical in almost every single way other than the location where you build it at. As you can see, the dimensions have not changed. The lighting down there is all the same. There's an Allay. The timing's on the redstone. The only difference is if you build it to where the first level of water, the level that I'm standing here, is below level 30, Y level 30, then you should be getting GlowSquid instead of regular squid spawn. As you can see, it's working, and we have GlowSquid ink sacs in there. One thing to be wary of is aquifers and other bodies of water. Do not build this anywhere close to any of those things, otherwise you will cut your rates in half. Some GlowSquid are going to be spawning on the aquifers. You don't want that to happen. You want to maximize all your spawns inside the tank and make sure to always stock it up with axolotls, and really that is it. So thank you all for watching, miners and crafters. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and don't forget to hit that bell.